Plus, you're a BKB buyer, so you're going to get stunned through it anyway.
Those Miranas, Weavers, and you can always itemize versus an Ursa. Even as a Phoenix, you can just rush that Halberd.
Yep.
It's actually a very decent build, so it's an option for bait.
Of course, the catch here is FlyToMoon do have that final pick, so maybe this Ursa is more of this kind of draw attention onto me type core to enable something else in the draft.
I think when you're playing around Visage as well, you want to have high tempo. That Ursa activates you earlier. It also allows you to go for that Roshan very early on with that, whatever you buy on Visage, basically. Helm of Dominator, Medallion, Vlad, whatever. Okay, this is something that will allow you to itemize properly versus these heroes.
Bait is like really winning this draft right now, pretty hard. But I don't know what FlyToMoon's like last pick will be. This FlyToMoon line is just weird. This is really weird, but this is a dream Bristle game, especially when you have a Beastmaster already on the team. You get massive damage from your ulti, now attack speed from the Beastmaster, plus an Oracle behind you, so you don't need to fear Bat. Another hard counter to Visage, because you just don't get touched. Like, you don't take damage from this lineup right now. And you also own Ursa, because you just spam goo. Even if he ults it off, you goo him again. Ursa gets kited quite easily. Natural Halberd buyer. If Bait were going to win a game based on their opening 4 picks,
this draft looks solid, yeah.
It's really good.
I love how we've been able to suddenly peak up. We're seeing some light for Bait right now. Is there anything that's come to your mind that FlyToMoon, if we're not looking just at Bait's draft, what would complete theirs right now? Because you said it's a bit, you know,
it's very wonky. Yeah, I'm not really sure. You need magical damage, that's for sure. I could see maybe
Necro offlane,
but it's Oracle.
Yeah, that's
it's just really awkward. I feel like they made some really questionable maneuvers. That's all I'm going to say. I also think it's a Visage off lane, because a Visage mid just does not make sense to me in this situation. I don't think there's any off laner that really remedies the game state you found yourself in at the moment.
What does Bait need to complete their draft right now? Because, as you said, with these 4 picks already, it's looking pretty well rounded up, right? Nothing too wacky, just a classic Dendi hero, maybe?
They actually ban out that Necro. Even though they have the Oracle, they just respect it. They ban it out because of the counters to the Bristleback, right?
I think it's a nice Quap game. Don't really like Puck at all against Visage. Quap's a bit weak, but I think it's just the right hero here. You have pretty limited lockdown on the side of FlyToMoon, and you have these 2 really beefy cores. You just want something that can really easily rotate around through the lane.
They just go with the Quap.
I like it.
Now the question is, will FlyToMoon move this Visage away from mid lane? Like Kyle had said, perhaps on the off lane or even on the safe lane, play around it a bit, maybe put the Ursa in the lane versus the Bristle. I'm not sure how that would go, but maybe move the Visage around from the mid lane. Now, this matchup, Visage can win after level 6, obviously, but the question is, how much will you suffer until you get that 6? If you buy a lot of regen, perhaps a headdress, then you can stand against Quap, but Dendi will have a very good lane here. No matter what, then these Quap should be really strong. Now the question is, what do FlyToMoon do about that? Do they relegate it? Do they go for a different Iceberg hero? Something like Silencer banned out as well. It's decent versus Oracle, versus Quap, versus Bristle, versus Phoenix. Something that he loves to play.
Do you like something like the Kunkka, so you can lock down the Quap, take her out the fight quickly, or just thinking Iceberg heroes, things we see, some like the Kunkkas, for example, or Tiny is another one that he likes to play a lot of?
It's possible. Tiny is an impossible hero in this game. I could see a Kunkka, but FlyToMoon's just so single target right now. I'm going to go for a TA.
Cannot protect themselves.
All right, it's the mid matchup is pretty tough for Quap here. It can really go either way. It's a very high skill matchup. Concern is that if TA snowballs, you just run over this game. It's effectively all physical damage, all mass minus armor on FlyToMoon. They're going to need Roche. Like, if there was a game Bait could win, it's this one right here. It's this one. Like, they have a really good shot.
Build a bunch of halberds on Phoenix, on your Bristleback. You're able to deal with both the Ursa and the TA that way. They definitely have a good shot, but they need to fight around that Roche pit. With the egg, they can do it. But, yeah, we'll see.
So where you sitting? You got to make a choice. Is this enough to put you in Bait's corner? Cheering them on and saying they've got this. They're going to force a third game.
I don't really. I think it's a relatively 50-50 draft. It's just going to come down to play. You've got to try and slow the tempo down, make some nice rotations. Bait gets ahead early. You know, it's tough to say that you think the team that hasn't won a game will win one, but this is by far their best draft in terms of their 5 heroes, and also one of the best, like, in terms of how they'll play against the enemy draft. So
you'll go with FlyToMoon.
It hurts. I don't know.
Come on, give it a Hail Mary. This is Bates' moment in your eyes, from what I'm hearing.
This is not going to happen.
No,
Production.
I'm not making a kiss bet on this one.
Right.
It's up in the air. It's going to come down to play. It's just Dota 2, baby. Let's sit and hope we get a treat.
Well, fingers crossed, this can work out for Bait. Possibly one of the best drafts we've seen from them in a while. And hopefully they can actually get us a third game here tonight. We're going to throw it across our casters again. B-Cop, Tsunami. Do you see the light? Do you believe in Bait? Are you buying stock?
I'm buying some stock. I'm throwing my 401k in there. My salary is going to go into that. Things that I don't actually have. I want a third game. I mean, there's no kiss on the line this time, so I'm a little less inclined to do so. But I just want to see more than a 19-minute game. I want to see a third game in this series. Give me it all.
Maybe
please.
you can get a kiss from Tsunami if Bait wins.
Whoa.
Just move it from the panel and not to you guys.
You're not giving his
Well, you were
chastity away.
happy to make bets on Kyle and me. Like, come on.
Stop whoring Tsunami out.
I was just gonna spectate us all. I'm not here to join in. I'm not a participant here.
You're a watcher.
Much as hell, I'm not putting in any stock either. If there was ever a game, yes, that Bait could win. This is one game that I can finally determine their player skill, because for all the other drafts that I've seen, it's very difficult for me to be like, oh yes, this is how good the Bait players are, because I can't tell, because they're playing unplayable drafts. Here, it's it will come down to skill. If they manage to not get murdered in the early game by this Templar assassin, then I could definitely see them taking it. But I don't know how good they are yet. As a team, as individual players, obviously they're all mechanically skilled and they all have their own list of accomplishments. But the jury's still out, and this will be the game that really has me determining if this roster has potential.
Yeah, you're talking about the early game being a very important part here for the Bait lineup. That is something that we talked about in game one, and something that they couldn't get done. I want to have faith that there will be a game three. I want to have faith that Bait can finally pull one out here. But I mean, that last game wasn't exactly promising, and as much as I don't want to think about last game to this game and compare the two, I kind of have to, looking at this.
We have a similar potential for General to get out of control in the early game, which I will say that the Bristleback is definitely not going to be as bullied as a Nature's Prophet would be. And they have, everything that you need in a draft. They have an active mid laner for Dendi, which he obviously is. That's when Dendi's at his best. Excalibur is generally at his best at higher skill-based heroes. Bristleback is kind of a bit mindless in comparison, and oh god, that is a soul assumption at level 1, and a fissure on the Oracle as well.
Yeah, they got the Oracle. This is the same thing that happened in the lane the first time. I mean, now minus this kill on the Spartan, but geez, this General has been so dominant in this off lane.
Yeah, and that time he wasn't even enabled by Aloha Dance that much. That was just... Usually, people don't take Soul Assumption at 1, especially as the core. You usually take Grave Chill so you can get more last hits, or the Gravekeeper's Cloak so you can take some more abuse. As Aloha Dance, kinda...
Yeah, he looks very dead here. I'm not certain Spartan needed to take that kill with the Purifying Flames. I think one more Quill Spray would have done it, but he secured the kill either way. That's fair enough. But looking over at the other lanes, where are you seeing any advantages here for Bait? Like, is this gonna? You said it comes down to mechanics. Like, right now it looks like top's not going too amazingly, but are you seeing it anywhere else that they might be able to pull ahead with any of these other lanes?
Mid lane was relatively even in the previous game, even though I thought the Templar Assassin would have like a way more significant advantage over the Leshrac. Dendi was keeping it competitive, so in the laning phase I don't really expect anything to happen in the mid lane too much. If a kill happens, it was an error from either side. And then in the bot lane, it's yet again a 5-position Batrider, who's laning up against a somewhat more difficult offlane with the Beastmaster Phoenix. These heroes can deal with a Batrider a lot easier, and mainly just because of the board. Mainly Beastmaster can deal with these heroes a lot easier. As always on a fly, gonna give up his life for a courier.
Well, the original plan was, I think, just to give up his life, but he happened upon a courier. It wasn't like that was the original idea, watching him just go straight to the tower and a courier pass his vision.
Yeah, but he still does it in experience range of the Phoenix, as opposed to going to the tier 2 tower, but I guess it doesn't really matter. He comes back to the lane with 3 mangoes and 1 mango for VTune, so I think he's just being the Ursus courier right now.
Yeah, going back to full health, full mana, he wasn't holding anything that could regen his mana. Now he comes back with 3 mangoes. So I was something that I was thinking, like, we're not seeing Always Wanna Fly be as aggressive, but now that he's got these mangoes, now they can continue to play aggressive with the sticky napalm. This might be the point where we see Always Wanna Fly really start to have the Beastmaster struggle up against him.
Yeah, but in the power of this boar, usually like the go-to hero or the go-to strategy against Beastmaster is like, I need some hero with cheap ranged nukes that can kill off the boars, because if I pick melee core, then they're not going to be able to do it, and so my support needs to be able to fulfill that necessity. And Batrider does not really do that. He may get a point in Flame Break at like level 4, but even then, that's not going to really do it. So this is a much better offlane for Bait, just in terms of being able to deal with the Batrider. And now General, he is taking a lot of abuse.
Yeah, he's continuing to take a bunch of damage. He does have Soul Assumption ready to throw if he were to spot Spartan again, but won't be able to do so. This is certainly going a lot better for Bait right now. I know we're only 4 minutes or just about 5 minutes into the game, but that was 25% of the previous game, so it's a big chunk of what was the previous game here. And now the Fortune's End comes in on a General to try and chase to get the kill. The Soul Assumption comes through on an SSA Spartan, but doesn't get the kill. And, well, General will fall. Meanwhile, mid, Iceberg hits the deck as Dendi gets the kill. And this is going way better. Yes, they do lose Spartan over towards top, but this is now another kill as Aloha Dance falls to Excalibur, and he's got himself a double.
Yeah, and this Visage is going to be staying vulnerable all game long. He's not really going to actually Always Wanna Fly following LeBron here, who does not have Icarus Death for another 5 seconds.
He's burning clock's pretty good for the Fortune's End.
Oh, nice.
LeBron? He should be fine, and Always Wanna Fly will be dead.
It costs an Oracle TP, but Bristleback does not need the help. Sometimes it would be kind of devastating to have your mid lane TP, to have to TP to the mid lane as a support, but Bristleback is like completely independent. He's level 5, 3 points in Quill Spray. Even
V2?
Once Visage manages to get familiars, as VTune will die to this Beastmaster. Wow, yeah. Look at this laning phase. Look what happens when you pick a draft that doesn't lose at minute 0.
It feels like, there could have been a kiss on the line, and there's not, and there was so much here leading towards Bait potentially pushing this to a game 3 and winning their first game of the Pushka League, which we might see here. I know the net worth is pretty even, but this is certainly the start that they needed to potentially make it a reality. So.
Yeah, and so they can take it to late game very, very confidently as well. This was a great Bristleback game, as they're trying to go on melees, but Dendi rotates.
And Always Wanna Fly with the rotation from Dendi. They get not 1, but potentially 2, and there it should be, as Dendi gets the kill.
Things are going great. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see them doing well, because I was so tired of seeing them have like nothing redeeming to talk about, because I knew it had to do with the drafts. Now Excalibur is trying to get the wraparound on General, and will be successful as they purge off that Grave Chill.
General trying to survive with Aloha Dance going over for Spartan, and with the Soul Assumption will get the kill, but Excalibur continuing to move forward. Soul Assumption thrown at Excalibur once again, but eventually the Quills will be his demise as General dies for the second time in this top lane.
Yeah, Visage had stick charges, but I don't think it would have mattered. As you can see, Excalibur's more than willing. Yeah, and he's probably gonna get this kill.
There's a lot going well for Excalibur, but over bottom, Melee is trying to TP out. Do they have the damage? One more shot. Yes, they do. Melees will fall. VTune will clean them up. They get something back in this bottom lane, but still 11-4, 1,000 net worth lead for Bait.
15 kills at 7.5 minutes. This is the kind of CIS Dota I love to see. They managed to kind of successfully take the bot tier 1. VTune does end up denying it, but I mean, the bot lane's tier 1 tower being taken this early in the game without really like a concerted effort is better than they did with their Nature's Prophet draft. And this was just kind of passively happening as now LeBron, oh nice, cancel on the Icarus dive. Always want to fly manages to get that flame break as the Phoenix was flying and they managed to snipe it.
Good job to get a kill there. General was the one who gets credit for that, as his lane certainly not going as well as the first one, but you know, kill there helps him recover. We'll see what he's able to do. He's still sticking here over mid, but Dendi has vision of General just staying on the high ground.
Yeah, I think General just wants to find his level 6 somewhere, but if he goes back top, he knows that the Bristleback will just eat him alive.
On Fortune's End on Always Want to Fly, but nobody there to follow that one up just yet. LeBron is making his way towards bottom. They've also got Melee's making the rotation, so Always Want to Fly was stopped for a moment, and it looks like they should be able to get the kill onto this Bat Rider as he goes onto the high ground, lays down a ward, but ends up dying.
One of the heroes that I was kind of curious about, so after the 20% nerf, Beastmaster also got some fine-tuning in the C patch, and he was one of the heroes that actually got like some significant changes. His Hawk cooldown talent, I think, used to be level 25, and it was like 16 seconds, and now it got bumped down to level 15, and they changed his board damage to be level 20. And so I'm curious now if Hawk cooldown is like a viable talent, because at 25, it was not really viable. No one really... you would pick it, but just because, I mean, Wild Axe damage was also pretty mediocre. But I'm curious if that like makes Beastmaster significantly better, because the board damage was incredibly valuable. So we'll see what Melez opts for, as he's having a pretty solid early game.
Yeah, look to go on to Iceberg. You didn't exactly land the way that they would have wanted it with the Fortune's End as well as the Icarus dive, so they can't go. Talking back to that Hawk cooldown, it puts the Hawk cooldown at a 14-second cooldown. If I've done the math, or 16-second cooldown.
16-second cooldown, yeah, and it lasts for a minute, so you can have like 3 Hawks out at a time, which is crazy.
Yeah, is that better though than a 6 armor? That's a decent chunk of armor.
It is, and especially in this game against a Templar Assassin, a Visage, and an Ursa, I'm expecting him to take the armor. But at the same time, there are many drafts in which you're just against a bunch of magic damage, and I feel like a ton of Hawk Vision as they actually roar up the Beastmaster, I mean the Bat Rider in mid.
And they get the kill and Always Want to Fly. Iceberg's thinking about coming over for a second, but won't make the approach, as it's definitely a difficult one to come in on, as Bait are starting to focus this tier 1 tower mid.
And surprisingly, Excalibur joins the fight. He's got his Vanguard completed, and he's joining this mid tier 1. I was expecting him to kind of do what FlyToMoon were doing with VTune in game 1, which is they had a great early game. Let the Queen of Pain and the offlaner make most of the space, which in this case it would have been the Beastmaster. And you just let the Bristleback get gigantic. Maybe even like go for a Radiance. I would have been fine with that in this game against a Templar Assassin and an Ursa. But instead he finishes off the Vanguard, momentarily drops in mid, but goes back top, and actually opting for the full Crimson Guard in his quick buy, which is surprising. The panel mentioned the value of Halberd this game, and I guess he doesn't really need it that early on. He can finish it as a second item, but I see this Bristleback having a lot of potential to cause issues for the FlyToMoon draft, but it will be very, very dependent on the itemization, as they're actually going in on Shaker.
It's the Fortune's End with the Icarus dive onto LeBron, and then the Echo Slam coming through from Aloha Dance. They'll try to get the kill onto the Phoenix at least, but they won't get that. Now False Promise used as Icebergs come over towards top of 3 of these heroes, trying to get the kill onto this Templar Assassin. He goes into the melds, and now has to focus this egg, but I'm not certain he'll survive it. He's burnt out, quilled up, and killed off as Iceberg is melted.
And bot lane, they're going on Melez. Flame Break bounces him back, but he gets the roar off.
Chase is on.
And he's boars.
Andy gonna join in. Looks over at V2, and they get the lasso. They'll finish off melee. Stendy's here now with General and Always Want to Fly around for the side of FlyToMoon. But Fortune's End on Always Want to Fly. Dendy should have the easier kill. The potential to, but now he needs to make it out successfully, and he does have Blink available to leave if need be.
He's gonna keep going aggressive.
Look at how much damage they're taking.
I'm very surprised that they got this Visage pick so early on, because it was what, an Oracle and a Beastmaster, and then they picked the Visage after that, like first pick of the second phase. I mean, it's not really that great of an Oracle game. I mean, sorry, that great of a Visage game. Even before the Bristleback came out, I don't really see it necessarily being like that great, because Oracle, as we saw in the landing phase, is just like a pretty solid counter to Grave Shell. And while there is a great deal of burst damage that you can pick up Soul Assumption charges with that kind of lane, it's still like you can't go aggressive this game as a Visage, and the Bristleback just completely puts a cork in all of that. So I am gonna struggle to see General to have even remotely the same impact that he had in Game 1 on his Weaver, but maybe he's just there to enable his Templar Assassin, as he does have the medallion completed, and FlyToMoon can take Roche extremely quickly if they manage to get like any map control.
So we'll see what they're able to accomplish. I mean, General, yeah, certainly, like you said, certainly not having the kind of impact that he had in Game 1. The kind of impact he had in Game 1 was some of the biggest impact. You see that early from a 3 position, but now taking a look over at Always Wanna Fly. One more shot comes in from Dendi, and this is just bait continually being together. You know, as 4 or 5, moving through mid, getting these kills, and really making FlyToMoon work for a bit of a defense.
Oh, it's the Iceberg Supernova just straight up.
And the Nova coming through. Excalibur looking forward. Below Hot Dance, he does have the Echo Slam. The Supernova doesn't really do as much as they would have hoped. B2 makes the rotation in, but now you need to find your opening to maybe turn this around. Bait, hit with a trap, blink away from Dendi. Now they work on Excalibur, not the target that you really want to go after. They've got the False Promise, so they can be a little bit aggressive on the side of Bait. They also have the double damage pop by Dendi, so FlyToMoon in a lot of trouble. He was Always Wanna Fly, sent up towards the side, but he gets spotted out by the Phoenix as well as Spartan, who throws the Fortune's End. Shadow Strike from Dendi. Always Wanna Fly backs off with Firefly onto his own high ground, and will sit there laying in wait.
They have the Crimson Guard. They still have half duration left on this double damage rune, so yeah, I don't imagine that they're gonna ease up on this tier 2 push quite yet. And Melee's hunting for a roar target. Oh, Iceberg.
Iceberg hit with the Primal Roar. They're going to jump in on this. He no longer has the Refraction, taking a lot of damage. There's the Sonic Wave to get the kill. They take out this TA, and they have just overwhelmed FlyToMoon in this mid lane and continually taking out Iceberg. This is a big difference from Game 1 to Game 2. He is 0-3-1 at the moment.
I'm so proud of them. They grow up so fast. Because this is like, Bait had always the right ideas. Like, in Game 1, you saw that they were like, oh god, we got this Nature's Prophet, we have to push really, really fast. But they just didn't have the draft to enable it. And so I never really had any issues with their map movements or their, like, overarching strategy. It's just that, you know, even if you have the right idea, if your 5 heroes aren't built for that idea, then you can't do anything. But here, they're grouping up, they're meeting their timings very, very well. Like, Queen of Pain doesn't even have a major item completed, and they took down 2 sets of towers in the mid lane. And that's just because Excalibur was like, yo, I'm not gonna farm up to, like, ultra late game status, I'm just gonna get this Crimson Guard and we can just start partying right away. And he's bullying Iceberg again.
Iceberg is just continually getting run down, but they've got the lasso on the Bristleback. Can they get a kill here? The Spartan Oracle is coming through. Good fissure on a 3. Echo Slam falls, and I'll take it out. Spartan, LeBron, Excalibur's courier will fall with him. And now they look for Dendi. That's a big turnaround for FlyToMoon.
Yeah, he oversteps his bounds a little bit too much as the Bristleback. Yeah, and gets punished for it pretty significantly. It's just a shame that the rest of Bait were trying to save him. If they did manage to get the False Promise on him, that could have been another Iceberg kill. But the Oracle, unfortunately, got slammed out of existence by Aloha Dance, who does have that Blink Dagger completed. Did he blink in to get that slam, or did he complete it afterwards?
He had the blink prior, but I'm not certain if he blinked in to get that. I think he just kind of walked and had the stun. Luckily enough, hit between the Phoenix and the Oracle, because it was during Icarus dive, I believe.
Well, and well played by him, and a great reveal of that Blink Dagger.
So now it's back to even, and that's what I was thinking, you know, is this Blink Dagger going to be a big game changer with the Echo Sun? Because there was definitely moments in that high ground siege over by the tier 3, or not the high ground siege, but the kill on Iceberg, where if he had a Blink Dagger, he could have thrown a very big Echo. The positioning from Bait going up towards that kill to Iceberg wasn't exactly amazing to prevent something like that.
Yeah, now he can provide more of a distraction so everyone doesn't have to focus the Templar Assassin constantly. Seeing a lot of...
Ooh, and the totem hitting LeBron. They're going to look over at Iceberg and Shadow Strike, Fortune's End. Iceberg taking a lot of damage. He goes into the meld, and he is left all alone. They'll try to TP away, but the Primal Roar comes in as well as the Sonic Wave. They get the kill on Iceberg. They take him out again. Nobody there to really help him out. He was all by his own himself.
Oh, and now General's in trouble. If not him, then his familiars. Actually, he gets a 4-man stun with that stone form. And he will be able to escape. And they're actually not going to finish off his familiars. They're just going to keep trying to hunt for him.
They go into Roche. They'll try to take this this first Aegis. It's going to be tough. It's not exactly the easiest Roche to take, the easiest pit to secure.
The General.
As I say that. Now look at General. He is taking that kind of space. Again, the Supernova comes in. They will get the kill. He loses his life, and well, the Supernova is now down going back into this, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% worth it for the Phoenix. Templar Assassin is up, but there's no way that she's going to go for this without having her Blink Dagger completed. So it's up to Always Want to Fly. He may give up his life for it, and will fail.
Yeah, he's not going to get it. Aloha Dance now getting focused. This is giving enough time for maybe somebody to help out, but if you're going to die one by one, I don't know if you can stop this at all.
Dude, V2, it's your turn now. Let's go into the pit. Maybe you can steal the Aegis. Who knows?
Red Rover, send V2 over.
Yeah, they will take it. And FlyToMoon fall right into Bait's trap. They thought that they could contest it, and they did it very piecemeal. General rolls in the back lines. He's like, I can maybe pick up this Phoenix. And Phoenix is like, man, I don't give a shit. I'll Supernova for this. I don't care. We'll win a fight in the pit even without that. And so General goes down. Then Battle Rider's like, well, maybe I could just like pop on over this cliff area real quick and sneak myself. Oh, actually, General is going to manage to stop this outpost being claimed. As Spartan was warding or something? I don't know. Spartan, if he had helped out with that outpost, they could have maybe claimed the bot outpost, but instead it's going to go 1-1 apiece. But yeah, it was failed attempts by FlyToMoon on multiple situations, and they give up like 3 kills in the end, or 4 kills in the end, and lose the Aegis.
Just to,
oh wow.
Oh my, melee.
That dash.
Forcing the Primal Roar out. And I think FlyToMoon are pretty happy with that, knowing that that control is no longer there. However, I don't know if they're going to be happy with V2 trying to continue forward, because he's in a lot of trouble. He will get the kill onto the Beastmaster before he dies, but I don't think he really needed to give up his life for that. Now they look over at the Bat Rider as he's been lifted up with the Yules. Flame Break to push away LeBron. Now he'll try to TP out, but the Fortunes then again, Spartan is on it.
Yep. That man has canceled so many TPs, it's not even funny. I think they're in their mind, they're like, they have no stuns on Bait. We should be able to TP at our leisure. And Spartan's like, it's okay. I don't need a stun. I just need this route. And you will not be able to get out of any of our gank attempts. And his positioning has been on point consistently. And usually whenever you think of Oracle positioning, you think of clutch false promise ults. But in this situation, it's just been him canceling, like, that man must have like 1,000 Dota Plus relics at this point for TP cancels, because he is on fire.
General, and now the Yules again. Well, I'll just TP out. It's still not working. But General is starting to turn this. He does have the help from Aloha Dance, potentially to throw a stun in, but now with the numbers coming over from the side of Bait, Aloha Dance, it might just be a defensive fissure to help out. However, Denny taking a lot of damage, and all of a sudden, there goes the Aegis. They've got the Primal Roar, they'll get the kill on a General. I think LeBron was maybe thinking Supernova, but not necessary. They're searching for Aloha Dance with that Sunray. He gets around, but Spartan is here, and now the Yules comes in once again. It's not going to be available for Iceberg, who now turns his attention over to Dendy. Supernova comes through, and the bashes on the Dendy. They get the kill. Now they look over the Beastmaster. They've got the lasso with it. They'll take out Melee. Now Spartan's the focus of their damage and anger, because they are really looking to kill off this Oracle who uses the false promise, and just slapping away at a hero you know is going to die is very
the Phoenix
fun.
too.
On top of it, down goes the Phoenix. Triple kill here for Iceberg, and a 4-for-1 in the favor of FlyToMoon.
Wow. And all that time, Excalibur's TP is on cooldown, but I'm not quite sure what happened, because that was a relatively long fight that the Bristleback was just not present for, and they had control of the top outpost, and they have their top tier 2, and that is you need Bristleback to show up to that kind of fight, because Bristleback is not the kind of core that you are making space for. Bristleback is the kind of core that will join into any brawl as soon as he sees it happening. Especially, he's got the second item Halberd, and he went for a team item Crimson Guard, so a little bit of miscommunication with Excalibur cost them 4 lives on bait, and suddenly the net worth kind of starting to shift back again in FlyToMoon's favor. VTune as the Ursa getting quite large, going to go for his BKB after finishing off his Basher and Mask of Madness. Obviously the Blink Dagger has been completed for the Templar Assassin. She's also going to go for a BKB, although mid lane always want to fly. This time they didn't even need a cancel. They will just have enough damage to finish him off, and they smoke up now.
Was the creep right there to see them smoke?
No, I think it was still on the low ground.
They are going to smoke. They are going to try and pull this back. It was at most a 2,000 net worth lead for the side of, or 3,000 net worth lead for the side of Fate, but it has come back down to, I don't want to say reality, but definitely something
the status quo, perhaps.
Yeah, that's the
things were going too well, suspiciously well for Bait, that at some point FlyToMoon needed to equalize it, and they did indeed. Melees has an Arcane Rune and wants to roar literally anything that he sees.
He didn't exactly have everybody there to help him out on that one if he were to just roar on that. Shadowblade for the Earthshaker. Aloha Dance gets his hands on a Blink and a Shadowblade. He has got a lot of farm. He's got more than General.
Yeah, that was kind of his thing in the last game also. He's just very, very skilled on the Shaker at managing to find farm, as now always want to fight, trying to do some counter fighting, but pay with his life.
Oh boy, burned out by that. Sunray gets to the high ground, not gonna matter. The axes fly through from Melees, and the killer is gonna fly once again.
Somehow Radiant are still drawing Dire around the map as they were pushing the bot tier 2, and then Bay just kind of like lose interest in it instantly as they start moving mid to maybe find a kill. I will say that the late game is still FlyToMoon favored. As much as this Ursa is going to get kited out, and as big of a deal as this Bristleback is, I feel like the split pushing potential of FlyToMoon will be very, very irritating for Bait to deal with, because they can just have Visage, you know, with his familiars be taking some stuff. Iceberg may eventually work his way to an Aghanim Scepter on this Templar Assassin, which is becoming more and more in vogue. So that would be something that Bait would struggle to deal with. So if they have the opportunity to take towers now, they should really seize it. And I'm surprised that they just kind of give up on that bot tier 2 push.
Yeah, it seems like FlyToMoon are still kind of pulling them around on strings a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's not really working out for Bait. They need to kind of take those objectives. They have the ability to take them pretty quickly, and they should try to focus on that.
It's possible that they're just waiting until the second Roche, but the second Roche is not going to come free. Both teams are more than willing to throw bodies at it, which, if it's a full-on fight, Bait definitely can win a full fight. But if FlyToMoon get like a pick on the Beastmaster, then all of a sudden they can just send Ursa and TA into the pit and then take Roche in like 40 seconds probably.
Setting up. Aloha Dance, you might not have an opportunity here at an Echo Slam, but they do split up long enough where only the fissure hits on a Spartan. Meanwhile, General taking the bottom tier 1. He is now the one pushing the bot lane. He's also going into a Shadowblade, interestingly enough.
Yeah, I guess maybe one of them really needs the Silver Edge to deal with the Bristleback, and Aloha Dance doesn't really want to have to use his invisibility to go punch the Bristleback, but would rather use it for initiation purposes, as they actually see Aloha Dance.
Yeah, they had a good ward here to get the vision, but he goes into the Shadowblade, so he'll leave for the moment, but now shows up. Supernova goes down, the BKB's been popped by Iceberg. They've got the Primal Roar onto the TA. It's gonna pop it just at the end. There it goes. The Primal Roar that was out as well as the Sonic Wave. They get the kill and always want to fight. They look over now at VTune. The chase is on to try and kill this Ursa, but they have used their lockdown already. And as I say that, though, they've got the clumsy net, and, well, Ursa's in some trouble. Fissure comes through. It's not going to save the life of VTune, and 2 kills there for Bait. Very good fight from them, and comes off the back of this ward.
Man, what a godlike roar by Melees. He manages to stun out the Templar Assassin so that she can't finish off the Queen of Pain, and it shoves the Ursa back, that the Ursa is not in a position to get a single attack off, and then super slow afterwards. So he tries to Earthshock his way over to the egg, can't even finish off the egg, and Templar Assassin does make it out, but great fight. And oh, well, that is a dead Phoenix. Not sure what LeBron was doing there, but he will die.
He gets hit with that fissure and loses his life. Aloha Dance has been kind of on it with the placement of his fissures.
Melees needs to start sending Hawks into the pit now, because Roche can respawn. It's actually a very, very, very late Roche respawn, which doesn't really favor either team.
Coming around on the Melees, they've got the vision. Oh, Flame Break on the high ground. But Fissure stops that TP. They'll keep always want to fly right on top of him. The right click's coming through from Iceberg, and now they will get the kill there onto the Beastmaster. They also take out the Oracle. Phoenix is already dead from before, so 3 heroes gone, and they still won't set up in a Roche just yet, though.
Yeah, they were pinging it. They really want to take it, but it's not up yet. And so they will try to establish as much vision in the surrounding areas as possible. Probably get a bunch of sentry wards to make sure that they can spot out a Hawk. Because again, if it's a full 5-on-5 engagement, Bait will probably win it. It is dependent on where the Phoenix Supernova is and how convenient it will be for Ursa and Templar Assassin to just jump on it. But for right now, those handful of deaths definitely lose them a bunch of map control, because even without wards, TA has set up like a bunch of traps on the perimeter of the Dire Stairs.
One thing I was noting, just to go back to that we spoke about in the early parts of this game, was whether or not he'd go the armor or the Hawk's cooldown. He does go into the armor. We talked about how the armor was probably the better choice in this game, but I was just interested to potentially see the Hawk cooldown come out.
Yeah, I think it has potential, but not this game. Not against these heroes. Not against a Solar Crest Visage and a level 22 Iceberg Templar Assassin working her way to that now 1 second meld bash, as it did get nerfed by the 20% patch, as Aloha Dance on the run.
And into the Shadow Blade, 4 seconds till he's got that blink. He makes his way out of the eyes of 4 heroes here from Bait.
Roche is up, so no team can afford to give up any picks. They need, like, everyone alive.
Both teams have pretty decent Roche pit potential here.
Yeah, if one of them smokes on the other, then, like, neither of them can smoke into the pit, but if one of them smokes to get a pick, as it looks like that will be what FlyToMoon do, they can very easily turn the tides. With their 5k net worth advantage, they're already in a pretty good position. Oh, Excalibur.
Excalibur, the one out in front. Now he goes to the low ground.
Ooh, he's very exposed.
He's away from his team. They're actually going to go for the rest. They've got themselves the lasso onto the Oracle. The Sunray trying to keep him alive. Sandy comes over. There's the Fissure hitting out of the Oracle. And now blinking forward is Iceberg. They'll get the kill on the Spartan, so they no longer have that false promise. They'll buy back on the Oracle immediately. Always want to fly dies as well. He'll buy back too. Primal Roar out on Iceberg. Pop that BKB. Trying to run from the Supernova as well as Excalibur. He's sitting pretty low, but V2 maybe looking ready to initiate on this. That was the Sonic Wave that came up way short from Dendy. Dendy looking over into the Roche pit for a moment, but they're going to lose a LeBron or wield it. They've got the heals as well as the false promise. The Fortunes and stops the TP of General. A good fissure, but not enough to save the life of this Visage. And it ends up being a 2-for-1 with buybacks used by both the Phoenix as well as the Batrider. And they also lost General.
Dude, Spartan is playing out of his mind right now. He manages to get the Ghost Scepter off like right as the lasso was connecting, and so the Templar Assassin can't immediately follow up with a 1-2 shot in that lasso duration. So instead, the TA has to wait like way later than she wanted to kill off the Oracle, and then she's super out of position, and Beastmaster is able to get a very, very convenient roar. And then it seems like the Phoenix was going to die to the Familiars, but just a last-minute false promise ends up saving the Phoenix as well, and Spartan pretty much single-handedly salvages what could have been a brutal initiation, as Always Want to Fly getting the lasso on him could have been Roche winning, but instead flips around the other way, and still a net worth advantage for FlyToMoon, but that second Roche was critical, and they end up opting to give it to the Queen of Pain again. The first one was kind of surprising. I was surprised that they gave the Queen... Oh, lasso. onto her. There's a lot of TP up.
Echo Slam? Oh, I don't know about that. I did get the Aegis out of the hands of the Queen of Pain, but now Ohot Dance, he's looking like he's going to die. They've got the Totem stunning up too. Duels is there from Dendi.
Blink.
And
Oh.
Blink.
Oh, in the shot.
Ohot
What a player. Tip that man. Oh man, that was clutch.
Wow.
That his own Yules saved him and just narrowly manages to have all of his cooldowns available. So I was saying that, oh yeah, you know, you can give Queen of Pain the Aegis in the second life so she can like play more of an initiating role. But so much for that. Let me tell you, if Bristleback had that Aegis, they would not have been able to just snipe him out like that. But then again, Dendi may have just outright died, so I guess it goes both ways, but whatever the case. That is now gone, and the cheese is still on Bristleback, so they'll have that, but that's a quick snipe of the Aegis.
And then to get a Ohot Dance out on that. Whoa! Iceberg's got a Divine Rapier.
Whoa!
Yeah, exactly the thought I had.
What? Oh my god, okay. I did not think we were at that point of the game, but hell yeah, put me in, coach. There's like no potential for like an Aegis for like a really long time also. Man,
Yeah.
I've been putting on a show at the end of Division 1. Let's go. See, what happened was, he was like, it took me 2 attacks to have to kill the Oracle? Unacceptable. I want the
gotta be-
one and done.
My god. Noticing that Always Wanna Fly is 1 in 13. It's not exactly had a fun game, but he has done his part. 10 assists. You know, he's involved in 11 of the 18 kills that they have. Certainly not the worst game overall.
This is what most people were expecting in Game 1, when you're like, you pick a Bat Rider into an Oracle? Why would you do such a thing? And then he was like, I don't care. This game, Spartan, again, he's playing above and beyond expectations. Oh, they see him deep.
Focus now for me is Iceberg. He's holding this Divine Rapier. I feel like this is it is a scary moment. Like, yes, you want to fight. Yes, you've got the damage and you should feel confident in that, but you lose that Divine Rapier and you are in a world of hurt.
And Bristleback, like, is not a hero that will give it back up. In some games, when it's like on a PA and some other squishy hero, then you see some Divine Rapier hot potato, but this game, it's going to be lost and gone forever if Iceberg somehow dies. And they're looking like they want a race, which I actually don't know who wins this race. Visage versus Beastmaster, but Bait will not oblige and they will come back to defend.
They've got 4 here. Bristol's still pushing out mid for a little bit. Excalibur gets that creep wave over to the tier 3.
Oh, yeah.
The Liquor's time, they've got the Yules, Fortune's End, locking up General. Sunray on top of him. There's the Flame Break to try and help him get away. The Fissure hits onto a couple of these heroes on the side of Fate, but General still dead.
I will say the psychological impact of putting a rapier on the game also is pretty dramatic. Like, players will play differently as soon as they see a rapier. Both the team that has it, both the team that's against it. Because then all of a sudden, like, the whole net worth idea you had in your mind completely goes out the window. Because sometimes you can feel it in the game. You're like, okay, you know, I have, we're probably stronger. But even if you are stronger and you're going up against a rapier, now Abyssal,
They've got themselves the false promises as well as the Icarus dot coming in on a V-Tune. Fortune's End. Melee's now looking to go the other direction with this one as he does have the Primal Roar ready. He'll blink, going to the tree is good positioning from Melee's, but the BKB's been popped by this Ursa. Dendi comes in, they're doing a lot of damage. He'll try to TP out, and just with a minuscule amount of health, before the Supernova goes off, is he able to escape?
that BKB lasted for way longer than it felt. It was an 8-second BKB, but he was able to tank an entire Primal Roar and still managed to survive long enough to TP out uncontested. So, wow, that was very, very close. They've somehow managed to buy time for Iceberg, who now does have buyback, so at least he's not going to be totally out of the fight, but he will lose a lot of his net worth, obviously, if he does manage to go down. So, FlyToMoon are playing this fast and loose.
Fissure just on the edge. They've also got the lasso onto the Phoenix. Abyssal Blade follows it up and a 2-shot there. Get the kill.
a bit unnecessary to have to use the Abyssal for that, as they knew that the ult was down for the Oracle, but they want to get these kills as quickly as possible. And now BKB back up in 2 seconds for FlyToMoon's Ursa, so they can go hunting again.
Got the Abyssal up at 9 and waiting for somebody to come over. Aloha Dance inside the Shadow Blade finally comes back out, and he's looking to find, you know, the Echo Slam of Echo Slams here in this game if Bait were to join them in the dance of a fight.
Yeah, Initiation is now like really, really strong for FlyToMoon. They've got the Abyssal on the Ursa, as we mentioned. They've got Aloha Dance, who's stacked as hell with Shadowblade, Yule's Blink, and they have level 25 Meld Bash on Iceberg, so, and obviously the Lasso. So they managed to find anyone they can immediately snipe him out. He's now always on the fly. He will probably die.
On the run, and, well, Dendi should be able to take the kill with the help of Excalibur, and will. He does have the AoE Shadow Strike. On top of that, he had the Prince's Knife, too. Oops, Spell Prism for both sides. Definitely feels like a very close game, and it teeters on the edge because of that Divine Rapier.
I know.
But
And Iceberg's staying like, oh man, if he can get, oh no, he sends the Illusionist Cape back, damn. It would have been such a sick bait with the Rapier and the Cape, but he needs the Minotaur Horn.
I was gonna say, he now picks up the Daedalus. He did get another 2,300 gold. He doesn't have buyback at the moment, but it's a bad thing to lose the Divine Rapier. I think it's still salvageable because of what the TAs picked up afterwards with the Daedalus. But it's certainly not the end-all, be-all.
So you're saying that she should save for buyback, at least?
Yeah, I think going to a fight without buyback could be game ending.
Whoa,
Dendi
looking super aggressive.
Nobody else with too.
Yeah, Radiant had no vision of that. Then they're like, there's no way this Queen of Pain is blinking all alone. Instead, they get an Abyssal Blade on Bristleback to find out the Earthshaker. Yeah,
he was under the Sentry Ward. They get the kill on Aloha Dance. Just happened to stumble upon that Sentry and ends up dead. He's got the
Roche number 3 is available with a Refresher Orb. And that would be pretty value for like either the Beastmaster or the Oracle or the Phoenix. Really, there's a lot of heroes that can take advantage of this, so Shaker will buy back. Can he get here quick enough, though? Oh, baby. Hold on to your butts.
Flame Break coming through. General with these familiars gets the stun out on Excalibur. Roche getting low. Sunrays there. The BKB is going to be popped by V-Tune as well as Iceberg. They got the Abyssal Blades going back and forth. As I believe the Abyssal Blade came out from Excalibur after V-Tune used it.
Got the Aegis.
By Iceberg, and now LeBron's getting hit in the deck. They look over as the Sonic Wave comes in from Dendi. He's taking a lot of damage. The False Promise keeps him alive as he's able to blink away. But Melee's, he's been stunned up. The Fortune's End is there, but it's not going to be enough to save his life. They'll lose the Beastmaster. He doesn't have buyback. He's dead for 67 seconds, but they get the kill on a General. Also, General, he has buyback. He'll use it immediately. They look over at Dendi. They've got that kill. The Supernova is down. I don't think they're going to be able to pop it. They get that kill and always want to find. They take the Aegis out of the hands of Iceberg. So now, Excalibur doing all he can. He's got the Abyssal Blade up in 5 seconds. They're going to need help here for the TA. But TA disarmed. Aloha Dance comes in. The Refresher Shard. There's the Echo Slam. Kills off LeBron. He no longer has buyback. They look over at SSA Spartan. They've got the trap down. He uses the Ghost Scepter to survive a little bit longer. The BKB's been popped by Iceberg, but they'll get the kill. Then he comes over. Excalibur trying to do what he can as V-Tune is sitting low. The Abyssal Blade is there onto the TA. Can they get the kill on Iceberg? It looks like they're going to get close, but no cigar. Excalibur ends up low, and there's the Soul Assumption to get the kill. They look over at Dendi. He's hit with the trap. Blinks away. Nobody on Bait has buyback. So Aloha Dance won't go after Dendi, and will leave him to tell the tale of the fight that just happened to everybody back at the base.
Damn, I was hoping for some sick drop the Blink Dagger on the ground so it doesn't get canceled by Shadow Strike plays from Aloha Dance, but they don't really need to. They handedly win that fight. That Refresher Shard on Iceberg managing to give him a second BKB to just go face first in the Bristleback and get fat crits with that Rapier. I can't believe Iceberg, nerves of steel, managing to go into the pit, steal that Aegis, steal the cheese and the orb, and they're just going to end the game. Damn, that is a heartbreaker for Bait. They played so well this game, but Rapier Dota.
not over just yet, but Dendy gets hit with the Abyssal Blade. Primal Roar comes in. Now it's much more over as he's dead for 2 minutes. And GG will be called. Bait was close, but no cigar.
They put on a show, and they made it look incredibly competitive.